Welcome along to the Singapore Grand Prix. It's round 16 of season 15, Wheel-to-Wheel Racing AL2 Championship. And last week it was the long straights at the Temple of Speed in Italy, but this week it's a completely new challenge on the narrow streets of the Marina Bay circuit in Singapore. This track hosted the first night race in Formula 1 history back in 2008, and it's only undergone minor changes to its layout since then. But today it's a 3.1 mile circuit with the most corners of any track on the F1 calendar with 23. There's 14 to the left and 9 to the right, and 3 DRS zones to help overtaking at a track where it's not easy to overtake at all. The only great passing opportunity really is down into turn 7. We're going to have 61 laps of racing after qualifying today, and the race around here is one of the longest and most difficult on the Formula 1 calendar, and it makes it almost an endurance race. With how long and difficult it is, a big challenge for our drivers today. The tires, the softest in the Pirelli range, C3, C4, and the C5. The soft, about 7/10 quicker than the medium and 2.3 seconds quicker than the hards, but a very short lifespan on those soft tires, as we'll likely see a lot of drivers go for the mediums and maybe even the hards here in qualifying as we are underway in a single 18-minute qualifying session. And we look forward to yet another great race here at Wheel2Wheel Racing.
As you said, Matt, lots of corners, lots of laps. It's one of the few races where we sometimes looking at the 2-hour race time limit in real life and in the game. So it's, as you say, quite an endurance race. You need a lot of stamina to make it through this Grand Prix. Few cars coming out on track now. Got Steve-O first out of the pits. He'll be starting his flying lap first. We've got Bannister and the 2 Ferrari cars looking to set their laps.
Yeah, I think last season in AL1 we actually hit that 2-hour time limit on the final lap of the race. We had a couple of safety cars and some rain, so it was a really, really long race, and it was, especially around a track like this, it's not only that it takes such a long time, there's just a mistake waiting to happen around every corner. It's so tight all the way around this track, so to stay focused.
High probability of mistake, which means high probability of safety cars, because there's minimal runoff areas, a lot of walls to hit. So, and like you say, difficult to overtake. But we will be riding on board with the AlphaTauri of Steve-O for his first flying lap, and we see some raindrops coming down.
Yeah, there is.
So, start-finish straight is our first DRS zone. As we come down to a tight series of corners, turn 1, 2 and 3. You have to ride the curbs a lot here, but you have to make sure that your throttle's right not to unsettle the car. DRS activation zone as you turn left into turn 4, then big right into turn 5. This is where you're going to have one of your overtake chances as your DRS is open. Coming round turn 6 down Raffles Boulevard, heavy braking, turn left into turn 7. We've got a tight corner here coming into turn 8. I've seen quite a few instances there. Opening up onto turn 9, which is left turn, close to the wall on the exit. Seen many of end plates on the floor rolling down here. Then we're coming down to turn 10, 11 and 12. Then we'll be going over Anderson Bridge. Tight little chicane into turn 13, very slow around there, struggling with this evolving track as the rain's falling. Steve-O obviously on the medium tyres. Down into a hard right, which is turn 14. Down here, then we've got 15, 16, which is a hard right, 17, which is a hard left. Again, you need to watch the wall on the exit. Very tight series of corners now. Turn 18 under the tunnel, turn 19 to see a bit of end plate on the floor there already. Turn 20 you have to watch this inside lines here just to make sure that you don't invalidate your lap. That was turn 21. Coming round turn 22, And finally 23 as we cross the line with a 1:47.7. Now DRS was deactivated as Steve-O was crossing the line, so that might be critical for the pole position.
A couple of times there we saw how easy Steve-O had to accelerate. He was really taking it easy there, because as we see, the track is evolving, and Ted in the Williams has been off a couple of times here on this lap.
He needs to watch out. He's got someone coming around the corner, though I don't think anybody's going to be setting any good laps on a set of slicks around here right now. So Steve-O might have already guaranteed pole early in this session, because everybody cannot control these cars.
Yeah, it's in order to get a little bit of control, they're going to have to switch tires, but if you go onto the inters in these conditions, it's not going to be anywhere near those times that we saw with Steve-O.
No, inters, you're going to be looking at the 1:55 mark, so basically it looks like P1 to P4 has been decided, and now it will be a battle for P5. That's very interesting. I can't believe how intense this first few minutes of qualifying has been.
And Steve-O, if he does keep that pole, that'll just be another one to add for him. But a letdown of State in second, if that holds, that'll be a great starting position for him.
Well, I also think, like I say, it's going to be 1:55s on these inters. I don't think they're going to get any faster than that. So a letdown of State and dastardly P2 and P3, that's going to be great for Ferrari.
Yeah, and neither of the Renaults were able to set a lap before the rain really started coming down there, and those are their main rivals.
Yes.
In the Constructors' Championship.
Although, as you say, it's a long race, lots of corners, lots of laps, lots of incidents. Oh, it's Ted. I think he's lucky to be getting back to the pits. He's hit the wall quite a few times there. But
yeah, and we see our championship leader out on the intermediate tires. I think he's the first to leave the pits on those tires. So the track definitely getting worse in terms of pace and wetness.
I think if Mikey can secure at least P5, he stands a good chance at redeeming some places, because I know that Mikey has done well here in Singapore previously. It's not one of his worst tracks.
And Mikey starting 5th won't phase him if he's able to get that position. You saw last week coming from the middle of the grid, fighting through the pack, and got the win last week in Monza, and it was such an impressive drive, and it's really what he's been able to do all season, cutting through the pack. His qualifying performances haven't always been great, but he's always been able to get up on that podium.
Yeah, his racecraft has come quite far. He seems to have learnt quite a lot of patience when it comes to picking his battles. He might hang back knowing that he's going to be gaining that position, rather than trying to battle each one and be involved in an instant. Also, his tyre strategies has definitely improved over the seasons, albeit we've seen a strange decision. I think, was it Hungary? I think
yeah, there's been a couple. I think Belgium as well, but I think the Belgium one ended up not really hurting him. Still had a good result there. He starts his first flying lap on the intermediate tire.
A lot of curb on turn 2, but you can get away with that, and that sort of helps set you up for turn 3. Nice control around here, but you can't help but feel how slow it is on these intermediate tyres in these conditions. The purple sector 1 though, apparently. It starts with 31.1. But it's probably the straightest sector on this track, so...
Oh, and he's getting a little loose there.
So the loss of traction probably won't hurt you too much in Sector 1 as much as it would around Sector 2 and 3. And we've got Dastardly on a set of full wets. But again, I've got a feeling Dastardly is safe in P3.
He might be downshifting so early. Try to help the retardation down into the hairpin. And back up through the gears is would be the third DRS straight, but of course no DRS in these conditions.
It says purple sector 2, but again that's another point, because in these wet conditions you've got no DRS to help you down these straights. So I'm not sure how true the game is telling us that he's got purple sectors.
I don't think, because he's coming up here on 147, and I don't think he's going to make it. So
he's not getting that.
I think it will be 5th for Mikey when he crosses the line. Nothing too surprising there, but it's a decent lap from him. Never easy in these conditions, but he's able to keep it under control for the most part and puts in a 158.051.
158. He did lose a lot of control of the car. He struggling for traction on the rear tyres, so I feel like we still might be looking at them 155s. 155, 156, I'm reckoning, on the Inters.
His teammate just coming around the last couple of corners here.
Prev just set a lap on a 159, CHM 158.2, very close behind his teammate. Ted driving nice and tidy around sector 1.
We do have confirmation that the weather for the race will be dry, so you have to think all these drivers will be on a dry setup, which will make it even more difficult to control in these conditions.
Ooh, nice catch there from Ted.
Yeah, he's wrestling the car through this tight section.
I mean,
well to keep control though.
That might be something else, because Steve-O, a Letdown Estate and Sega done their first lap on a set of mediums. Now, because the track's changed to wet, I don't know if that means that they will still have to start the race on their mediums, because everybody else setting them on Inters now will get free choice at the start of the race if it's dry.
I could be wrong, but I do think if you set your lap on slick tires and it's the fastest, and if it's dry at the start of the race, you have to stick to that set if you're in the top 10.
Yeah.
It is an interesting situation, though. We don't often see this.
Ted's lap strong with a 156.3, which is a bit mad because he didn't look to be in much control for most of the lap. But it just goes to show how fast you can be whilst not taking your typical race line.
Yeah, sometimes, especially in these conditions, you just gotta throw the car in and hope for the best. Try to keep control, and so it wasn't always pretty around that lap, but it was quick, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So a good lap from Ted.
I just can't help but feel like he could improve. And that was a good lap.
Yeah. He still does have time for another run if he wants it.
Riding on board with Dastardly, everybody else is pitted or Bannister's out on an out lap. The last checkpoint, Dastardly was 3 seconds down in his time, but he of course was one of the few that set a time on the slicks.
Yeah, so for those drivers that set their times on the slicks, there's really anything to lose here for them, so maybe a little bit of wet practice for Dastardly here. Just going out and feeling his way around the track.
Looks like Bannister's causing a yellow flag in early sector 3.
if it were going to be a wet race, I don't think we'd see a guy like Dastardly using intermediates when he didn't need to. But because it's a dry race and we're not going to be needing those intermediates the rest of the way, there's no reason not to use them. Go out and slide around a bit, have a little fun.
Ted was way off in the background there, and he's way off again. So Bannister, did he keep all of his wing? It looked like he did when he caused his yellow flag. We've got both Renaults in Sector 1. They're out looking to improve their lap times. Ted's pulling over for Bannister coming through. And again, it's telling us purple Sector 1, which I don't think would be true.
You can see a little bit of the racing lines starting to dry up maybe a little bit. I don't think enough to challenge those top times that were set on the slick tires.
Certainly not Steve-O's or a letdown estate. I think if 153, I don't think you could do that on Inters. Because we had a wet qualifying on Wednesday and we set our times on Inters, and I'm sure most of ours was around the 155. And AL1 typically is the quicker league, so you'd like to think that there'd be a difference in pace there.
Oh, and Ted has put it into the wall. It is down in turn 14.
Oh, he's retired. But his car's moving, so...
Car is pulling off to the side. So hopefully that won't get in the way of anybody.
Oh, and Bannister sending it sideways just before the line, which is a shame because he got a blind in 155.9. If he'd have gone forwards across the line, that would have been even quicker. So we now jump on board with Mikey, who is in front of his teammate, also setting a new lap. Both Renaults down on their time by 2/10.
Oh, Mikey getting the revs really high there, using first gear coming out of that corner. Not often you see any first gear in these conditions. You want to usually get up through the gears and give yourself some more traction, but able to keep it under control here.
And Old Dad's just beat Bannister with a 155.2. Mikey is struggling.
He has improved through Sector 2 though.
Yeah, CHM is down 4/10. Very close to that ball on the exit there.
You get that few meters of grip there under the bridge. Help calm the car down. Sliding back and forth across the track in that last sector, it could be so difficult. But he's kept it relatively clean, but
He does
can't
improve.
move up from 8th.
And CHM improved, but they stay where they are. Oh, and that's the end of qualifying. That snuck up on me. I missed that.
I think Old Dad's is not improving, and Bannister is into the pits.
No,
so I think that will be that.
Old Dad's is 2 seconds, 3 seconds up, down on his time, sorry.
Having a bit of fun out there, getting sideways though.
Qualifying last season.
I think he's drifting on purpose, Old Dad. The way he went into that corner, it looks like he's just enjoying himself out there. He knows qualifying's over.
Mikey starting the race at P8. It might be a little bit disappointed with that, but I know he's come off after an injury, so he's racing today. Probably not as bringing his A game. And last season he qualified P3, and the two above him moved up to AL1. So he was the fastest last season that's still in this season. So a big contrast from his last performance here in Singapore. But maybe his dry setup don't work in the wet.
Yeah, it will be a dry race, so anything can happen from here.
So there we have our Singapore Grand Prix with Steve-O setting a 1:47.7 on a set of mediums very early in the session, which I think was critical, as you see the top four setting them on slicks. So Steve-O in P1, A Letdown Estate is second, Dastardly is third, Sega to Cars is fourth, Old Dads is fifth, Bannister is sixth, Ted is seventh, Just Mikey is eighth, CHM is ninth, and Prev is 10th.
Yeah, really good qualifying for Ferrari. As we mentioned, they're looking to close the gap to Renault in the championship standings, and they're in a good spot on the grid to do so.
They really are. Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. With Renault, with a poor qualifying there. But 79 points Ferrari are behind Renault. So now we would normally have our 5-minute break. So as we're going into a 100% distance race, as we say, Singapore can be one of the longest races on the calendar. Not specifically in distance, but in time.
Yeah.
But we can have a look at our championship standings at the moment, and Just Mikey is in the lead with 249 points, with a total of 2 race wins. He's very frequently on the podium, but he's been struggling to stand on that top step this season. Not struggling as much as Steve-O. Steve-O's been on the podium. Well, he missed the first 4 races. Being on the podium all but 3 times. And only 2 of them wasn't the top step. But he is behind Mikey chasing with 51 points deficit, with a total of 198 points. And then he's closely followed by Bannister, who is trailing 18 points behind. And then 19 points behind Bannister is Dastardly. And then it all sort of drops off with Sega, A Letdown Estate, CHM, Prev, Ted. But all this is on the Wheel2Wheel Racing website, so you can go on there, you can see all of our standings for driver and constructors. You can see all of our race information, race highlights, driver of the day votes, and we've got the archive. This is our 15th season, so it's quite a long season, quite a long lasting game that we've been having. But I can tell you the race results from last season. Russ got the race win, and he also got the fastest lap. The fastest lap was a 1:39.0, but that was on the 2019 F1 game. Second was Pezza, and third was Dastardly. So he's looking strong for a good finish in Singapore as well. And then Ross the Icon was 4th, and Mikey was 5th. Only 14 seconds off the lead. But Mikey finished with no penalties, whereas quite a few of the other drivers had penalties.
Yeah, there are a few corners, especially in the third sector, I think. Turns 20 and 21 in the last couple corners, very easy to exceed track limits, as well as turns 1 and 2 can be very easy to get a penalty through there as well.
Yeah, chicanes in Sector 3, it's very easy to pick up some penalties. I picked up way too many on Wednesday.
Yeah, and as I experienced in some other drivers I know in AL1 on Wednesday, the dirty air can be so difficult on this track. So many tight corners, and you really need all the downforce you can get. So if you're following closely behind somebody, it can just make it so difficult to not only stay with the car in front, but also keep it on the track. As personally, all of my penalties and track limit warnings were while I was in dirty air following the car behind, or a car in front. So that'll be something to watch for. It's just another thing our drivers will have to cope with today.
So 10 drivers on the grid. Anybody who finishes will be earning constructors' points. So we'll see how many safety cars, how many incidents, how many DNFs we may come across.
Yeah, and just run through the tires again. We're in the softest of the Pirelli range, C3, C4, and C5, and the softs are quicker by 7/10 over the mediums and over 2 seconds quicker than the hards. But the big thing that'll be important for this race is that these soft tires don't last long at all. They're not a great race tire around here. So we saw 3 out of the 4 drivers that were able to get a qualifying time done on the slicks went for the medium tires over the softs, because the soft tires, they can only last a maximum of 18 laps, but really only 10 to 12 laps of decent pace before they start feeling really, really bad for our drivers. But the medium tires still with good pace, not much between the mediums and the softs in terms of pace, only 7/10 when they're both fresh, but the mediums will only get better and better in terms of that delta as they have a much longer lifespan of a max of 33 laps. They can go around 25 laps before they really start falling off. The hard tires by far the slowest, over 2 seconds slower than the softs, but they can last for 56 laps according to Pirelli. But looking at the race strategies, our drivers will only be looking to take them 40 to 45 laps if they want to go for a one stop. That is an option. Could see one stop, could see two stop, could see three stop. A lot of different strategies can play a part around here, especially with the high possibility of safety cars. Always plays a part. Every Singapore Grand Prix since 2008, when it first came into Formula 1, every race has featured a safety car.
That's hardly surprising. But looking at the starting tyre, as most of the field ended up on the intermediate tyres, they had free choice at the start of this race, and it looks like they've gone for the softs, most of them. So we'll be seeing at least 2 or 3 stops this race.
I do think it makes a difference that a lot of them didn't use soft tires in qualifying. So they're able to start on fresh tires, which will go longer than the likes of Dastardly, who qualified on the soft tires. Usually that's how it goes with a dry qualifying, and then a dry race that follows. You have to start on the same tire that you qualified on if you're in the top 10, but nobody except Dastardly, who's on the softs, has any wear on them at all. So that might be helping those outside the top 4. So we see most of them went for the softs.
So fingers crossed we won't see a repeat of 2 Ferraris coming together at the start of a Singapore Grand Prix.
Ooh, they are next to each other on the grid too, aren't they?
They are. But they don't have a Ferrari to sandwich, so that may be a good sign.
No. On the front row, we've got Steve-O and Alet Down of State, both on the medium tires. Dastardly behind on the softs will be looking to make a move fairly early. You have to think he'll have the grip advantage off the line. Drivers are all slotted into their grid positions. 5 lights are on. Boogity boogity boogity, we are underway in Singapore, and Steve-O looks to get away well.
Really
Dastardly
great start
challenges
from
teammate at the outside, but a letdown estate keeps hold of second. And Old Dad's Rule challenging Dastardly. A lot of action behind. Going too wide into turn 5.
Yeah, not many position changes. There's only Old Dads and Sega who's swapped, but just Mikey's having a look down on the inside of Ted. And he claims that position, but can he keep it round the outside? Yes, he can.
Oh, and Bannister's gone wide. Mikey's got him too.
Great start for our championship leader.
But maybe you see Bannister struggling with a little bit of grip. Maybe those mediums just aren't up to optimal temperature yet. Mikey takes advantage there, moving up to 6th. And you see Old Dad's right on the back of Dastardly.
Both on the soft tyres, but Dastardly started the qualifying on his and he got very loose in the exit of the corner there. It's looking like Dastardly is in trouble as Old Dad's is all over him.
Just doesn't look to have any confidence in his car. It seems like he's just sliding around every time he puts the power down.
Yeah, the setup looks very loose, as you say, struggling to get the power in without losing traction.
Ooh, but Old Dad's a bit of a mistake there coming out of the final corner, and Dastardly will be happy to see that racing point disappear.
Sega having a look on the inside. Oh, and there's end plate coming off, and that's from our championship leader, Mikey. That wobble from Sega caused him to go backwards into just Mikey.
Mike trying to get past the Williams to come down into turn 7.
Ooh, and there's contact from behind. It's a struggle to keep tracks of what's going on, especially when your deltas will go a bit funny on lap 2, but Ted looks like he's very close to the back of Bannister.
Now Bannister right on the back of Sega, as we saw Sega picking up a little bit of wing damage.
Mikey, although he's carrying that damage, he's flying away. I'll say that, he don't look as far away as he did on the last camera shot. But Old Dad's is back on the back of Dastardly. Dastardly struggling around these chicanes.
I think that might be by design with the setup, though. Dastardly maybe running a bit less downforce than we would normally run at Singapore. So he's struggling through that third sector, but we'll see how difficult he is to overtake, as we've seen in the past. Dastardly going for more low downforce setups, and see a straight line speed there down the main straight, pulling away from the racing point a little bit.
As you say, it's probably set up Dastardly with more straight line speed, less downforce. And see how Old Dad's fares with some DRS assistance. And he can't get close to the Ferrari, even with his rear wing open. But we see the sandwich that is Bannister between the two Williams.
Contact.
Ted's on the soft tyre, so he's going to be itching to get past and not burn too much life out of them. He has a little look on the inside.
Going for a move. That is a bold place to try and overtake there. Don't think there was any contact made, so I think he just pulled out at the last minute.
It was It's very close between them two, which has only played into CHM's hand as he can now get closer to the back of the Williams as Old Dad's picks up a 3-second penalty.
I think Old Dad's dealing with some of that dirty air that we talked about. Right on the back of Dastardly, but just can't get past him. They'd likely dealing with the same issue. He picks up his first penalty.
You can see Old Dad's trying to move out of the slipstream of Dastardly, trying to get rid of that dirty air.
Now Bannister right behind Sega, and Sega is got a 2-second gap in front, meaning he won't have DRS, while Bannister and Ted will behind.
Oh, and Bannister
going for the move down the inside.
Sega's keeping in well, but he can't stand the chance between the two other cars with DRS. Sega losing 2 places there.
Bannister going wide at turn 7 again. It doesn't cost him a position this time.
Oh, and Ted loses the rear end. Luckily, he just
His
switches places with his teammate, but he's already back.
He's coming back at him.
Oh, but he goes very deep. Loses an end plate, and he has to back out. Ted now, unfortunately, dropping to last place because of that incident.
Yeah, I think he made a little bit of a mistake there on the exit of turn 8, and he was just looking to make that position back. Maybe got a little bit too aggressive going down in turn 10.
Old Dad's back on the gearbox of Dastardly, but both of them a little bit loose on the previous corner.
Oh, Mikey's getting right up to the back of them too.
Old Dad's just knows he has to be right on the tail of Dastardly in these DRS zones to stand a chance of any pass. Oh, Dastardly has a little twitch as he loses traction. This might be Old Dad's chance. Just Mikey's just outside of the DRS zone, and Old Dad's made contact with the back of Dastardly.
Don't think he picked up any damage there, but he did lose a bit of ground. Now 6/10 between him and the Ferrari. We've seen how difficult Dastardly is to catch down these straights, and just as importantly, Mikey is now picking up DRS off Old Dad's.
Yeah. And whilst all this is going on, Steve-O with a blinding race, almost 6 seconds ahead. Ted coming out the pits on a fresh set of mediums and a new wing. Dastardly, thankfully close enough to his teammate in front to be able to get some DRS assistance to defend against Old Dad's. But Old Dad's with the extra downforce can really get onto the back of the Ferrari in this third sector. It looks like he can actually get away from Mikey in this sector as well. Ooh, and he's very tight on that turn 21 there. I'd be surprised if he didn't get a warning for that. Oh, Dastardly's ran very deep. But he is now all over the back of his teammate.
And surprising that it's taken this long, as Dastardly on the quicker tire. But Let Down Estate running a great race so far, been able to keep that second position.
Yes. Difference in setup though, isn't it?
Wonder if there's going to be any team orders here. If
no,
Dastardly is quicker on the quicker tire.
It's the wrong way around in it, and them tyres, them soft tyres aren't going to last too much longer.
Yeah, that is.
Because he also both Letdown Estate and Dastardly did qualifying on them tyres, but we see a little bit of action between Prev and Sega to Cos. They was just battling it out as they come over the Anderson Bridge towards the hairpin. Very close to the inside wall before the tunnel there, but Dastardly's loses his rear end. Oh, and there's a lot of traffic coming through, and he's just doing more damage to his wing, trying to manoeuvre off the wall.
He can't stay still though. He'll get disqualified if he stops on track and he's able to spin it round and get going again.
A lot of wing damage. That's going to be a pit job. Now Old Dads is looking at the back of another Ferrari, but this time it's a Letdown Estate. And through that, somehow Mikey has dropped back 2.5 seconds from Old Dads, and Bannister is now on his case.
Yeah, as you said, those soft tires not going to last too much longer. The Bannister will be looking to close the gap even more, maybe past Mikey. And the other way around, Old Dads will be looking to get the move done on the Letdown Estate as quick as he can, because he knows the soft tires are going to start dropping off soon.
How does a Letdown Estate setup compare to Old Dad's? Has a Letdown Estate got a low downforce setup? Well, I think there was contact then.
A little bit. Just a little love tap on the racing point. Let him know he's there.
I just think it's carrying that much extra downforce. It's just underestimating his speed through these corners compared to the other cars ahead. I think the other cars are not carrying as much downforce, so they can't take these corners like he can.
They're able to stick right to the back of that Ferrari, even through that sector 3 where dirty air can be such a big factor.
And Dastardly some of the time had DRS. Oh, and Mike is pitting. Dastardly had DRS to defend against Old Dads.
And I think, yeah, wing damage for Mikey probably played a part as he's getting a replacement put in.
He did have an end plate missing at the very start, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that might have been a factor.
But he might be happy to get them soft tyres off. He was clearly losing time to Old Dads there. Ted sets the fastest lap on a set of mediums. Great exit there from Old Dads.
Oh, he's got overtake too. Is he going to have a move?
He's having a look
just
on
thinks
the
better of
inside.
it.
Yeah, he backs off.
Oh, and he nearly goes into the wall on the exit there.
He went very wide. I'd be surprised if he didn't pick up a warning for that. You can see Bannister coming up in the distance. Bannister will be looking for a better finish than last season. Last season he DNF'd from Singapore. Old Dad's just rinse and repeat. He's doing the same with this Ferrari, struggling to get past them on these straights.
He's going to be closer coming out of turn 5 though. If he can get a good exit here, he's going to have a good chance of making the overtake.
This is probably the best chance he's had all race for an overtake as he's closing the gap. Moving to the inside, he's got his overtake and DRS open. Early braking, but I let down a stake, closes the door on him. Great racing between these two. Oh, and they just caught the wall.
Oh, he's lost his entire front wing on that one. And he's got to go all the way around the track to get back to the pits to replace it.
That's called out a virtual safety car, which it doesn't look like anybody can benefit from that. Let's just hope everybody can stick to their delta, because you get heavily penalised if you're caught doing anything wrong under a safety car, virtual or real. Well, that's very damaging for old dad's race.
It's going to be difficult for him to. He just has to make sure to keep it out of the wall here in this last sector. And damage limitation here is you don't want to end your race.
Oh, and
Sega gets draw 55 through.
That's exactly what I was saying. If you're off your delta coming through, it will penalise you. And a lot of people got a drive through there. Let down Estate, CHM, Prev, and Sega all picking up a drive through.
A shame to see that at this point in the race, so many people still in contention.
And a letdown Estate's coming to serve his drive through by the looks on it. He's on the medium tyres, so he isn't going to want to change anything. Old dad's coming in for a wing. I was going to say a wing repair, but he needs just a full new wing. Sega serving his. Who was the other? Prev. He's chose to stay out this time. It's going to dramatically change the order of this race.
Bannister now up to second after all of that.
Steve-O 11 seconds in the lead. Oh, CHM, I think he went to serve his drive-through, but he's still got to serve it, so it looks like they pitted him instead. Oh no, he didn't pit. He's in third. I'm talking waffle. Forget that. It was Sega. Sega went to serve his drive-through, but they've given him fresh tyres instead.
Same with old dad's, I believe.
Yeah, well, he needed a new wing, didn't he?
Yeah, he needed a wing.
And that's really killed this race for the moment. We need another full safety car to bunch them all back up again and get some excitement going.
Yeah, not any close battles out there at the moment. Just looking at the guys who have pit recently. We got Mikey on fresh mediums, Ted on fresh mediums, Old Dad, Sega, and Dastardly. But they're all so far behind. There's a big gap.
Yeah.
After fourth, but we see, I think, Prev serving his drive-through penalty now.
And CHM close then to coming
They're
into the
both
pits.
following each other through the pits. Now let down Estate moves back up into the podium positions. I think they'll be happy that.
Oh no!
Yes, he did pick up the drive-through, but.
Prev must have caught the back of CHM going in that close, because, oh no, his end plate was missing on that previous shot, and now it's not. Maybe I'll just go quiet for a bit, because everything I'm saying is wrong.
It's alright, the real life F1 commentator gets plenty wrong, so.
They also have a lot more information at their disposal.
Yeah. So now we have a battle. Prev right on the back of CHM, both on old soft tires, and both of them will probably be wanting to get off of them pretty quick as they're nearing that point of really falling away in terms of grip.
Yeah, they both chose to stay out an extra lap before serving their drive-through. So both of them have got a blue pit light on their dash. So I'm wondering if that's indication that they'll be coming in. And just Mikey has now closed the gap to a letdown of State. He's closed it rapid.
See if he goes for a move here. He has a move into turn 1 if he wants it. And he's going for it down the inside.
Ooh, and the letdown estate is missing some end plate. That was before this overtake. Ooh, and both CHM and Prev pit. But CHM picks up a 5-second penalty. And the letdown estate already dropped out of DRS range of Mikey as we come into our second DRS zone.
I think just based off how his first 11 and 12 laps have unfolded, Mikey has put himself in a great position.
He has. It was really unfortunate to pick up that early wing damage, which meant that he didn't quite have the pace to challenge the people around him at the time, so an early pit. But good behaviour under the virtual safety car has put him into a good position. But he's third, but 30 seconds behind Bannister.
Yeah, but a long way to go, and you got to think about maybe differing strategies between Mikey and those two ahead of him.
Yeah,
because they both started the race on mediums. So he is a pit stop down at the moment.
Yeah. But that's 30 seconds to Bannister, which is then 40 seconds to Steve-O. Steve-O, obviously having started the race on their mediums, started on pole, had no battles, so he's just been able to just race his race.
Yeah, he's been doing time trial, hasn't he? Just not really been anywhere near anybody since lap 1.
Bannister also having quite a good race. Not involved in too many incidents. He having a good battle with the two Williams drivers early in the session, but no wing damage from what we can see. No penalties. No drive-through from the virtual safety car. But now it's looking the same again. It's a bit of time trial. Just race the track, keep it clean, keep it out of the wall, manage your tyres. Got a few people catching on track. Old Dads is near the back of Ted.
They get to cause, also catching CHM a little bit. But CHM just come out of the pits on fresh soft tires, so we'll see if we can extend the gap to the Williams.
Ted and Old Dad's also catching a letdown estate now. But this is Sector 3 where I think we've kind of narrowed down that the Ferraris are stronger on the straight line speed, but Ted's making a move past a letdown estate. And he got the job done in turn 1.
Yeah, letdown estate just trying to manage his race a little bit now. He's on older tires than everybody around him, and he's got a little bit of wing damage.
Yes, that'll be probably why he's losing the position here and there. That left end plate will be doing him damage to pace, and Old Dads is having a look round the outside. Very sensible move from a letdown to back out there, because that is a very tight corner to go round too wide. That wing damage is really hurting a letdown estates race, as his teammate is only now 11 seconds behind him and catching, and having wrecked his entire wing and had to pit for a new one.
Shows you how quickly things can change here at Singapore. Still only 15 laps into this one. A lot can happen, and a lot will happen.
Mikey slowly closing that gap. It was 30 seconds earlier, now 27.
Dad going a little bit wide at turn 3. Now Old Dad's looking to have another move around the outside.
Great racing respect from these two drivers there. Old Dad's able to run away with DRS, as it got the job done before it even opened it.
Yeah, it was a good couple of laps there from Old Dad's, getting an overtake on a letdown estate, and then just there he got Ted.
The other Williams car now of Sega. He's got DRS on CHM, but he's quite a distance back, and he can't make a move on this occasion. Mikey now into the 25 seconds behind Bannister. Sega still hanging on to the back of CHM, still in DRS range. Ted's going to have a look at his... Sega's going to have a look at his chances now. Quite close to the back of the Renault of CHM. He'll have DRS again.
Yeah, there's a poor couple of corners there for Sega. He needed to stay right on the back of CHM. He got close going into turn 1, but not a great exit out of turn 3, and then turn 5 he was a little bit late on his turn in and didn't get a great exit there, as he had to slow down to keep it out of the wall.
Sega's tyres should last longer than CHM, so it might just be a waiting game. Doesn't seem to have the pace advantage to just be able to get the job done. He's going to have to wait for a mistake or wait for tyre degradation to be able to make the move. Both of these drivers doing a great job. They both just seem to be racing their race and they're not really causing each other too much trouble, to be fair. They're just racing the track, one's in front of the other, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think Sega will mind the DRS. And he knows that it's just a matter of time before the soft tires on the Renault start to fade, so he didn't need to be too aggressive here. As you said, it might be a waiting game for him. Just sit behind and pick up the DRS off him until he starts sliding around, which will happen inevitably on the soft tires around this track.
So as we part way through lap 18, let's have a quick rundown of the order as it stands. Steve-O is ahead in first place. 10 seconds behind is Bannister in second. 22 seconds behind him is Mikey in third. And then we have Old Dads in fourth. Ted in fifth. A Letdown Estate in sixth. Dastardly in seventh. CHM in eighth. Sega to Cos in 9th and Preth in 10th.
And it's a shame for the Ferraris, as I spoke before the race. They were in a great position after qualifying. It's that second and third on the grid, but damage to both Ferrari's front wings in their first stint. Drive-through penalty as well for Letdown Estate. It's not been the start of the race that they were looking for.
No.
Meanwhile, looking at the constructor standings, they're trying to chase the Renaults, and one of the Renaults has had a fantastic race so far. Mikey started toward the bottom of the grid all the way up to third.
I mean, my quick maths probably ain't awake enough to figure it out, but both Ferraris are front of one Renault. Oh, and Steve-O's pitted onto a set of softs.
So Bannister will inherit the race lead, having not pitted yet.
Mikey just getting onto the straight now, but Steve-O is already out the pits. And he's looking to complete turn 3, whilst Mikey was only round turn 1. The Dastardly is caught back up with his teammates, closed that 11-second gap from earlier now to be within DRS range. So now might be where we'll see some team orders from the Ferrari garage, because now they're both on the same tyres. A Letdown Estates is slightly older, and Dastardly, looking to be the faster Ferrari, is behind. So they'll probably do a smooth swap over now under DRS.
Yeah, he's caught him at a good part of the track to do it as well.
Yeah.
Got him right at the right time, just so he can use that DRS to breeze past his teammate and not lose either of them too much time. So well done to the Ferrari team.
CHM still with the threat of Sega to Cos behind him. But again, they're not really battling each other, they're just racing their race around the track. I think they both know that they're in for some points if they finish this race.
Bannister in for his first pit stop. That moves Mikey up to second.
Where will Bannister come? He's going to come out in fourth.
Oh, and Sega having a little drift there in the third sector.
That's dropped him back from CHM.
Lost a good bit of time there, but he did well to keep it out of the wall. He started losing it there around turn 16. 16, 17, but Even as tight as it is around there, he was able to keep it away from the wall.
Sivo pulling away from Mikey just a little bit, but he's on the softer compound, so he's kind of expected to do that. Oh, and we have a Williams. Ted is off again. Ooh, he's coming back on, but I think he come back on right in the path of a letdown estate there.
Yeah, the yellow flags will have been out warning letdown estate. He did well to take evasive action. Ted has a lot of wing damage there, as he'll surely be pitting at the end of this lap.
Yeah, he'll be in for another fresh wing again. If he can keep it slow enough to stay in the pit lane. Sega and CHM inheriting them positions as Ted's pitted. Sega following behind CHM still. He's reclaimed the time lost from his drifting session. So Mikey dropped now to 9 seconds behind. Old Dad's only 6 seconds behind Mikey. I believe he's closing that gap. I think.
Yeah, and I think another thing to watch is Bannister on fresh softs, if he can close the gap to those two cars in front.
Yeah, he's likely to close the gap to Old Dad's, but I think Old Dad's is pretty rapid in Sector 3. To be fair to him, he's got the downforce to just drive it through all the corners. And Old Dad's is gaining on Mikey, but Bannister, as he sets the fastest lap, he's closing the gap to Old Dad's.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before we have a battle between Bannister and Old Dad's, and maybe even Mikey will be in that picture as well pretty soon.
Bannister gaining on Old Dad's will probably do Mikey a favour. That might stop the gaining on the back of Mikey for now.
Bannister closing that gap so quick.
He is. Oh, and Ted's retired.
He is
he's in the pit.
I believe.
He's in the pit.
That's a shame to see that.
Yeah. I mean, if I can finish the race 3 laps down with 30 seconds of penalties, then anybody can finish the race. No one's got an excuse.
Yeah. Can be a very frustrating track, this one, though.
Yeah.
It's like everything that can go wrong does go wrong sometimes. So easy to make a mistake, and if you start getting frustrated after one mistake, it can lead to 2 or 3.
Yeah. It's frustrating when you don't have the pace, because you feel like you just then got pressure from people behind as CHM's looking to come into the pits and Sega takes the position. When you haven't got the pace and you're struggling on the track and everybody else behind you's just got a lot of pace. But then equally, if you've got the pace and you're behind somebody who hasn't got the pace, it's a difficult track to just send it past them.
Yeah. But speaking of sending it, Bannister will be looking to send it on the racing point in front as he's closing the gap so quickly, and he's got under a second here. If he can continue to gain through this third sector, he might be looking for a move on one of the DRS straights. They'll have a massive grip advantage here throughout these tight corners in the final sector. And he is closing the gap, even with that dirty air. Soft tires working well for him at the moment, only 2 laps old.
Yeah, riding on board with him, his setup just looks very solid and stable. As old Dad's has a little bit of a wobble coming out the final corner.
Is he going to send it down into turn 1?
No, he's just letting him know he's there.
I think both drivers were happy to stay as far away from each other as possible and avoid a collision.
Well, Bannister, I think, being sensible there, just holding off because he knows with this DRS and overtake, likely to be able to get the job done pretty quick and clean, and there's not much of a battle from old Dad's there.
Yeah, that's, as we said, best part of the track to overtake down into turn 7. As we just saw, longest DRS straight, and Bannister able to take advantage of it and get through easily back up into 3rd.
I think old Dad's knew he wasn't going to win that fight and just sort of gave the position to save himself the tyre wear and the stress of the battle.
Yeah, no reason for old Dads to challenge too hard there. And now, Bannister's attention will turn to his main rival throughout most of the season. Mikey in the Renault is 4 seconds up the road. And if those fresh soft tires can keep their grip for a few laps longer, he might be able to try to challenge Mikey as he's on old mediums.
So, how far are we looking for mediums to go?
About 25 laps is around where they start falling off.
So I'm looking at a letdown estate. He's got
25 laps.
A letdown estate's got 23 laps on his mediums, and I'm thinking of Mikey. He's got 16 on his at the moment, so he could maybe go another 10. But Mikey's in a sandwich between 2 people on the soft tyres, so I wonder how that's going to play out.
All depends on the strategy. You can stretch your mediums further than 25 laps, but not ideal at that point. I think the best strategy might be a 2-stop with 2 stints on mediums, about 24 to 25 laps each, and then a short stint on the softs.
On Steve-O on his formation lap, it popped up with a predicted strategy for him, which was mediums, softs, mediums, but I'm not sure if he has enough of the race left to do that as an option. Sega is quite close to the back of a letdown estate. A letdown estate still carrying that wing damage, still on the same tyres he used in qualifying.
On a great exit from Sega to cause, he'll be looking to have a move down into turn 14. Switches to the inside.
Dummage, yes.
And he sends it. Oh, and I think he just kept it out of the wall. What a move from Sega to cause. Ooh, oh, but Letdown Estate looking to come back at him.
That was an error in judgment from Letdown Estate. I think he missed his braking point, but he did well to keep it out of the way of Sega.
A fantastic move into turn 14 by Sega to cause. Taking a little dummy on the outside and switched it back and sent it down the inside.
I was just about to say, I think it's time for a Letdown Estate to surrender them tyres and the wing. And it is doing so, because he's got a big gap now back to CHM, so he should hopefully be able to come back on track in front of CHM. But let's go now to Bannister, who's within the 1 second DRS range of Mikey.
Yeah, Letdown Estate changing his wing. No surprise there.
So on my mini-map I could see a Letdown Estate is moving out of his pit box, but he's going to be mighty close to CHM and Prev, but I think they're past him. They have. So I might just...
Mikey's into the pits.
Mikey is into the pits as I flick to Prev, because he is just sending it past CHM. Down into...
Oh, and he goes wide!
He does.
I think he just kept it out of the wall too. That scary moment for the Red Bull drivers. Could have seen his race flash before his eyes there as it almost ended. Very wide. Nearly hitting the wall.
I think he picked up so much pace with his overtake and DRS open overtaking CHM that his braking point came a lot sooner than he realised. But he did well to, as you say, keep it out of the wall, and then CHM took the position back, which I think is only a fair result from that misjudgment. But now the pair of them, Prev and CHM, have got a Letdown Estate hot on the tail on fresh mediums. Mind you, they're all on relatively fresh mediums. Just thinking about Mikey as well, he's pitted onto another set of mediums, but I think it would be a push to take them to the end, so maybe Mikey is on a 3-star. So Prev looking to have another go on CHM.
Not much
down
overtake
Raffles
with
Boulevard. No, he's looking for the outside this time, but he just backs out a bit. But a Letdown Estate is hanging in there also. Oh. It's very close. I'm surprised I haven't seen any carbon fibre bouncing around yet.
I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not, but Prev left his overtake on there through those low corners at turns 8 and 9, and that may have cost him a little bit. He would sent his car a little bit deeper than he would have wanted.
Prev with virtually no overtake, CHM with about 30%, but a Letdown Estate with 60%.
Something to note real quick, Bannister on the hard tires.
Yes.
They're looking for a one-stop from here.
Come out just behind Mikey.
Bannister was just on the softs, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he's gone medium.
Quick stint on the softs.
Medium, soft, hards.
Interesting strategy for the Mercedes.
Oh, and a Letdown Estate picks up a 3-second penalty. Just coming round the final corner, went too wide as he's trying to chase down the Red Bull of Prev. Great little three-way battle going on here. Again, a letdown estate with the most overtake.
He's gaining on the Red Bull. And the Red Bull's gaining on the
Renault.
Renault.
Oh no,
there's
there's
contact.
massive contact. A letdown estate hit Prev, which pushed him into the path of CHM. But a letdown estate looks to have both end plates for now on his Ferrari, as does Prev have both of his end plates. Very lucky to escape that incident.
I think letdown estate maybe just wasn't expecting Prev to continue moving to the inside there. They nearly went 3 wide into turn 7.
I think Prev is classic example of struggling with dirty air. So, as you said, the hard tyres 2 seconds slower than the softs. So Bannister is now dropping back from Mikey on them hard tyres.
Yes, but he won't have to stop again the rest of the race, and Mikey and Steve will.
No, but Mikey can now try and run away on their medium tyres, and Mikey will have to pit again, but I'm guessing it will be onto a set of softs. Oh, Prev hit the wall there. It sounded pretty hard. I wasn't in a view where I could see.
And again, they stay in the same order through turn 7.
I think this might really be hurting a letdown estate's race, being behind these two cars. I think if Prev didn't have DRS off CHM, a letdown estate would get the job done past Prev. Then equally, I think Prev's probably had a couple chances to get past CHM, but has a letdown estate being there compromised his attack? So are we going to come round exit of turn 7 in the same order again? But a letdown estate's got a great exit from the final corner, but he can't make it past Prev into turn 1.
Yeah, Prev using all the overtake he could there. But he's not got enough to overtake all the way down this DRS straight, so you wonder if the letdown estate might be able to make a move here as he goes a little bit wide again, the Red Bull driver. And here comes a letdown estate down the inside, but he can't make it stick.
It's a very good play from CHM. He moved once to block the path of Prev, which gave a letdown estate the advantage, but Prev was closing the door then on a letdown estate.
CHM going a little bit wide at turn 14. Still we stay in the same order. We talked about how difficult it is to overtake at this track, and it's even so here. Is letdown estate on fresher tires than both pros in front, but he can't really make him stick.
I just got to say, CHM dealing with the pressure of these two cars behind him very well.
One letdown estate might be able to go for a move here into turn one.
He's using all of his overtake to try and get the job done, but Prev goes very deep, but brings it back into turn 3. Reclaims the position. But now Prev has dropped out of DRS range of CHM, which might play straight into a letdown estate's advantage now.
Prev, phenomenal straight line speed.
But a letdown estate had used all his overtake. He had nothing to assist him there.
I don't think Prev had any more overtake to work with than a letdown estate there.
Old Dad's into the pits.
DRS maybe letdown estate could close the gap, but that was not the case.
Letdown estate has dropped right back now. Currently outside of DRS.
Is that Old Dad's?
That looks like Old Dad's, yeah.
Spun round. And he's got a little bit of wing damage, it looks like.
He has, he's only just come out of the pits, which is not what he would have wanted. Oh, and Prev just taps the back of the Renault CHM as they come round turn 1.
So here we go again with these three. Coming on to the longest DRS straight on the circuit. DHM, Prev, and a letdown estate. Doesn't look like anybody can make a move this lap either.
No, but a letdown estate is banking his overtake. So Dastardly's catching Old Dad's now, who's struggling to complete the course with only half a wing. He's back into the pits again. Hopefully he's got a decent set of tyres that he can move on to. And Old Dad's is onto a set of softs, so that's going to hurt his strategy massively, because he's not going to be able to get to the end on them. Oh, and Prev very deep.
Oh, and here goes a letdown estate.
Oh, and Prev is missing an end plate now.
Now a letdown estate outside of DRS range of the car in front. So it'll be a challenge for him to keep this position as Prev. Oh, and Prev hits the wall. So Prev, after laps of battling, maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, and now losing time due to that wing damage. Oh, and he hits the wall again.
He now has no end plates.
At least it's symmetrical now.
9 laps into his medium stint is probably not when you want to be going and getting a new wing. Especially when, as you say, he's now dropped into last place. Which means Steve-O is not far behind him. And he might soon become the first lapped car.
And I think a letdown estate will be happy that the Red Bull is now out of his way so we can focus on just the one car in front. Oh, and maybe a little touch on the wall there by Letdown Estate. They went into turn 22.
I'm sure Vettel got a pole round here through hitting the wall. Letdown Estate using all of his overtake. He's got his DRS open, but
and he goes right into the back of the Renault. Big mistake from the Ferrari driver there. He was gaining quickly, but wasn't close enough to have a move to overtake, and didn't brake in time to stay behind, not making contact.
I think a few people are finding that turn 7. Obviously they're going around this track so many times braking with nobody in front of them, but when they're trying to then brake in dirty air, it's just not stopping the way that they think it should.
Yeah, and I think on top of the dirty air you're going quicker than normal too, with DRS and overtake there. Yeah. Playing a part in straight line speed, you're going quicker than normal, so just that alone might mean you have to brake a little bit earlier. Certainly seen a couple of incidents down there at turn 7.
Old Dad's with the fastest lap with a 1:39.8. The fastest lap last season was a 1:39.0. And Sega out between CHM and a Letdown Estate. Sega on some fresh medium tyres. DRS and overtake got very close to the wall there. CHM doing a blinding race here. I think I would change his name to Brick Wall because nobody can get past him. Bannister on them softs has dropped 7 seconds behind Mikey now.
DRS forced Sega to cause. Does he have a move into turn 14? No, he does not. Staying behind, making some more overtake. Getting very close to the Renault as they come in second 3.
Sega with a lot of overtake. A Letdown Estate suffering again with more wing damage. He's now dropped over 2 seconds behind. Sega already on the overtake. And he's passed him before turn 1.
That's a great exit out of the final corner from Sega.
And Letdown Estate's pitted. Which now, unfortunately, puts him lapped with Prev. And Sega, on them fresh tyres, has been able to keep that position in front of CHM. Bannister's now between a Letdown Estate and Prev. And Prev probably wanting to unlap himself, but Bannister's got his own race to do. But Prev will be able to see the scarlet red of the Ferrari that is the next position in front of him. Which actually, if Prev can just hold on to the back of Bannister, Bannister will be causing a letdown of states and blue flags soon.
He's probably going to try to unlap himself. Here he is.
I think Bannister's let him. I think there's a massive drop off in them hard tyres. Actually, Bannister's just let Prev go, but Bannister's now 9 seconds behind Mikey. I know that Bannister can go to the end of the race on these, but is it going to equate to less than a pit stop? Because if Mikey can just get far enough ahead that he can either pit and have a free stop, or pit onto some softs and then just be that much quicker than Bannister on old hard tyres.
Yeah. I don't think Bannister realistically is looking at finishing ahead of Mikey on this strategy as they stand. But maybe with that, just letting Fred go by, I think he's acknowledging that.
Yeah.
His race is what it is at the moment, and if nothing changes, he's pretty set in stone for third place. But we have another battle between Prev and a letdown of state.
We do. Why am I just watching Bannister just tootle behind him?
Whoa! Oh, great exit from Prev. Had to go off the track on the main straight.
I was going to say that.
Around the outside into turn 1.
That was a slightly questionable move from my view, but a letdown of state on them hard tyres. He's struggling with the pace. I don't think them hard tyres are the way to go at all, but neither is hitting the wall from Prev. He's done that quite a few times.
Bold strategy.
He's got no overtake left, which has let a letdown of state close right back up to him. Yeah, a letdown of state dropping out of DRS range now. Even with DRS, he managed to drop out of DRS range.
Yeah, those hard tires, really long lifespan, but they are way slower than both other compounds. Especially at this point when the mediums are still fresh. It'll be over a second quicker lap.
There's going to be blue flags soon. Bannister is closing to a letdown of state, I believe. Steve-O now 20 seconds in front of Mikey. Mikey 10 seconds in front of Bannister, which I believe that gap is growing. Still, anything can happen in this race. We're only 2/3 of the way through. Seeing Bannister get close to the walls, I just think all it takes is for a lapse in concentration, and any of these drivers could DNF. So Steve-O, with his 20-second lead, could come to nothing.
Yeah, just trying to look at the different strategies we got. I think the top three might be pretty set in stone, as Steve-O and Mikey have another pit stop to go, but as we said, I don't think that will be enough Bannister to make up a position on them. And then Old Dad's rule on the soft tire, Dastardly behind on the mediums, but both of them have another pit stop to go.
Steve-O just making it past CHM under blue flags. But yeah, as you say, the top three, Bannister, he could decide these hards aren't working and swap to another set. He could take his wing fully off and pit, and he's still well in front of Old Dad's, who is going to have to pit at least once more as he comes in now, because he's missing his left end plate, so that's just going to feed even more into the top three's advantage over the rest of the field.
Get closer, see if Old Bats can come out in front of Steve-O and avoid going a lap down. Nobody comes out behind.
He does, and he's going to come out right in front of CHM. Old Dad's actually put in a scrub set of tyres on there. So he's just put them tyres on, but they've already got a lap wear on them. Letdown Estate is maintaining his position in front of Bannister. To be fair to him, I thought Bannister was closing that gap, but Letdown Estate is staying there. And it looks like Old Dad's has come out the pits with quite a bit of pace. He's right on the back of Steve-O.
We'll be getting DRS here, and I think Steve-O acknowledges pace of the racing point, and Old Dad's able to unlock himself.
Fair play. We have CHM in the pits, 18 laps on the medium tyres, but he's come in, he's having a wing change, but he still had all his end plates. He's gone on to a fresh set of mediums, which I think now you could look at taking them to the end of the race. that brings him out into the last position. No real battles going on track. Sega is the closest, behind Dastardly, which is 2 seconds. We've got 4 cars who've not yet scored any penalties, which is a good thing. Old Dad's with the most at the moment with 9 seconds. Previn are let down with 6 each. And Sega and Bannister with 3 seconds each.
Sega is closing the gap to Dastardly in front. He's on the quicker tire. But as we've seen before, at this point the softs start fading. He's going to have to get within DRS range and get a move done quick if he wants to make up that position.
Yeah, as you say, it won't be long before they begin to drop off. It's quite funny, the top 5 drivers are all in the top 5 of the drivers' the drivers' championship. Just a slightly different order. If you were to swap Steve-O and Mikey, the top 5 are in the order of the drivers' title.
I think Sega's tires maybe just having a bit too much wear as he's not really closing the gap anymore to us to be able to maintain a comfortable enough gap so that the Williams doesn't pick up any DRS or anything like that. And now he's beginning to fall away from the Ferrari a little bit. The gap over 2 seconds now. And it will be interesting going back to the championship. Not too many races left. We know Steve-O has the pace to win if he does what he's capable of. But even if he does win each week, I think it's still in Mikey's hands, I think. He can be on the podium consistently.
Although there's 51 points between them. I think if Steve-O won every race and Mikey came second every race, I think that would be a 7-point
difference, including this one. So as long as Steve-O doesn't get fastest lap on multiple occasions without Mikey getting a fastest lap, he would only be able to make 49 points up.
That's tight. That is tight.
So it might come down to fastest lap points.
And we've still got to see the result of this race. Still got quite a bit to go. Anything can happen. Mikey, I'm probably betting is likely to pit again.
And I think, speaking of fastest lap, Old Dads has it at the moment, but, as you say, top two, Steve-O and Mikey, who are top two in the championship standings as well, both likely to pit on the soft tires, so
Prev
we might see
going
some
past Mikey
laps
there, I think. Mikey's not going to want to be held up too much by the Red Bull, trying to unlap himself. I think unless Prev doesn't get a move on, he's going to be getting some blue flags, which he already is. He's getting some blue flags again. Ooh, and he catches the ball. He's going to have to just surrender the place to Mikey and just let Mikey race his race. Because you are allowed to unlap yourself, but it doesn't mean the driver who's racing for a podium has to let you do it. If you are wanting to unlap yourself, you have to have the pace to do it. Not only to get the overtake done, but also to run away with it.
And Mikey's coming in.
Yeah. So this is now where Bannister will have a choice. Talking about fastest lap, Bannister will inherit the position now, but Mikey will be pretty rapid on this set of soft tyres, which he can comfortably take to the end.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of ground to make up, actually. This
He'll have to do over a second a lap, which he'll likely be doing that at the start, but as he gets to 10 or 12 laps and those softs start falling away.
Well, all he really needs to do is get within 3 seconds of Bannister.
Yeah. Just to remind everybody, the difference between the soft and the hard when they're both fresh is 2.7 seconds. Bannister now on pretty worn hards.
Wow.
Not be too worn, so they'll likely be around the same pace, so maybe somewhere around 3 seconds difference right now in the tires alone. Mikey will have to take full advantage of that while he can.
So we'll keep an eye on that gap, currently 18 seconds.
Old Dads is coming up behind Sega Tacos. Sega's soft tires getting to that point of falling away. 11 laps old at the moment.
Again with the...
Having a look at the outside.
Oh, but Sega got
getting
loose.
loose there at turn 14. And who's going to come out in front? It's the racing point of Old Dad's rule.
When he made contact with the wall, I thought that that was his chance over, but Sega just didn't have the traction on his rear tyres coming out of the corner. And Old Dad's over 2 seconds clear now already. Oh, but
Yeah,
Sega was
pulling
pit.
into the pits as well. Yeah, already down to 14 seconds between Bannister and Mikey, so
Wow.
that's 3 seconds or more gone in just a lap's time.
Sega on a fresh set of softs, so he might be looking for fastest lap also.
I think this will be the lap. Mikey might be going for that fastest lap, because he's out of ERS deployment. He's been pushing pretty hard this lap.
So that was probably his out lap, wasn't it?
No, that was his... I believe his first...
was it that his first flying?
Full lap. Yes. It was quick, but still just behind that fastest lap. It was in the 130s though.
Is that half a tenth nearly? But now, as we say, that gap to Bannister down to 13 seconds. So he only has 10 seconds to find. But to me, Bannister's got a choice now as well. He's on his 20 lap old hards, which he can take to the end, but all Mikey has to do is be within 3 seconds and the position's his. So Bannister could think, I'm going to go for fastest lap now, because he might end up in third either way. And he can only drop to third unless he DNFs. So he could pit for fastest lap and go for that and take the extra point.
Looking a couple of places down now. Battle for fourth. Old Dad's has caught the back of Dastardly in the Ferrari. Old Dad's on slightly newer mediums.
It's a flashback to the start of the race where Old Dad's was struggling to get past Dastardly at the beginning. Where Old Dad's had all the downforce coming around this final sector, but couldn't match the straight line speed of the Ferrari.
He is right on the back of them as they come into the last two corners. Oh, and he's gotten a great exit out of turn 23. But you see that Ferrari just pulling away a little bit, even when Racing Point has DRS. I have to think it's going to take a special move from Old Dads to get this overtake done.
Oh, superb exit there, almost too good that he had to back out of the way. He can't match that straight line speed.
Down the outside. Oh, and he's got the switchback. And now they're going to go side by side through turn 8. And Old Dad's is through. Santa Maria. Great driving from the Racing Point.
Yeah. Dastardly left plenty of room there on the outside for Old Dad's. Now Old Dad's with the downforce advantage has got the opportunity to run away now before Dastardly can use his straight line speed advantage and catch right back up to him.
Now looking back to Mikey closing the gap on Bannister, it's down to 9 seconds. Just continued to close the gap pretty quickly. And he's only, as you said, with the penalty situation, he's only got to close the gap to 3 seconds. So he is on his way to doing just that, if he can continue close to this pace the rest of the way.
Old Dad's still with the fastest lap. Mikey had a good attempt to try and beat it, but few half a tenth off, but as I say that, Sega puts in a 1:39.8, but that is 1/1000th of a second faster than Old Dad's times. Old Dad's put in a 1:39.887. Sega just put in a 1:39.886.
And I think Devo might have a go at fastest lap himself.
Yeah,
as he hits for softs and comes out just in front of Bannister. Wow. Closer than I thought it'd be, but Devo on the fresh soft tires will be looking to pull away.
He must be listening. We went through the the standings on what he would need to do to claim the championship by the end of the season, and we mentioned taking the fastest laps as he pits and goes for the fastest lap. Just Mikey now almost within 6 seconds of Bannister. I almost feel like Bannister doesn't have many other choices. He might as well go for some softs if he has any and go for that fastest lap.
Yeah, if Mikey continues to close this gap, there's not going to be much that he can do to avoid dropping a third. Whether Mikey gets past him on the track or not, he's surely going to get within 3 seconds at this rate.
So no real battles going on right now, but Mikey is closing that gap. Steve-O is pulling away from Bannister as he came out of the pits on the last lap. He's now already 6 seconds in front of him.
Gap down to 4 seconds now between Mikey and Bannister. Closing so quickly.
Steve-O's got this fastest lap in the bag. He's already 2.7 seconds faster than his previous best, which already would put him faster than anybody on track, not including the advantage he's going to pull in Sector 3.
And there it is, fastest lap for Steve-O.
1:37.8. Over 2 seconds quicker than the rest of the field.
And now Mikey has got that gap down under 3 seconds, which is where he needs to be.
Yep.
But we say it week in and week out, no driver wants to take a position just by penalties. They want to do it on the track, and we'll see if Mikey goes forward a little bit here as we come into the closing laps. He's going to be within DRS range by the end of this lap. Closing. Oh, so quick on those soft tires. Maybe in the first sector of the next lap, he might be looking to have a move. He is right on the back of them as they come toward the end of their lap 54.
Bannister pulls to the inside. I think he just let Mikey go because he could see the pace difference. Now Bannister with 51 seconds behind, between him and old Dad's. He could pit twice if he wanted. Literally has nothing to lose.
Respect to Bannister for having respect for his fellow driver, but would have liked to see a little bit of a battle there, not gonna lie.
I think they both want to finish the race on the podium, don't they?
Yeah, it's smart from Bannister not to challenge. But from the outside, it's not the most entertaining thing to watch. They're swapping around like that.
And still 7 laps to go. It ain't over yet.
And I think if you're in Bannister's position, there's no reason not to pit and go for fastest lap. He's got such a big gap behind.
Yeah, it'd be daft not to. He isn't going to close that gap to Mikey again now. Mikey's already nearly 4 seconds in front.
And I think he is pitting. Yes, he is. Bannister into the pits.
Just Mikey coming up. Oh! He's put on a set of mediums. He must not have any softs left. Why would he not have any softs left?
He's only used one. And he didn't use any in qualifying. That is a strange one.
As Mikey's made it past Prev on the blue flags, but he's 18 seconds behind Steve-O, so I don't think any advantage will be made there. So Bannister has a 1:37.8 to beat. I mean, I did say Bannister has time to pit twice, so we could always just go, do you know what, actually I will go for them softs.
It is a slow pit stop here, so the gap was over 40 seconds, and it's only 18 seconds now. So it would be a bit risky to do that, but...
Oh, well, I was looking at the wrong time. I thought he had 30 seconds to go. But no, I'm looking at... That's him behind Mikey, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we'll see how much he pushes on this lap as he comes start his first full lap on this set of tires. Using overtake down the main straight into turn 1. Using the curves nicely there. Nice wide exit on turn 3 to get a good run down into turn 5, taking a little bit of the curve there. Nice and tidy onto the second DRS straight. And use a little bit more overtake as he swings it into turn 7. is a good lap so far from Bannister, but it'll have to be something really special to get fastest lap from Stevo, as Stevo set his lap on the softs. Really tidy from Bannister there through the probably the most difficult section of the track.
It's a good lap. 2.5 seconds improvement on his current time, which doesn't actually put him anywhere near Bannister's time. Stevo's time.
He's using every bit of overtake he can. Not often you see a driver use the overtake in this third sector, but we just saw Bannister do it. And you know he's pushing, trying to get that fastest lap. He's pushing still as he comes into the final 2 corners. Will it be enough? No. A great lap from Bannister, but not enough to take fastest lap off Stevo.
It's the second best fastest lap, which you got to take hat off to him for doing that on the mediums.
Yeah, it was a very good lap. Just all riding on board with him. Did all he could in the limits of the tires.
So there's not many things going on now.
You're not wrong.
Everybody's very spread out.
Look at the beautiful lights around the city. The city-state of Singapore, isn't it? One of the more glamorous Formula 1 events. Maybe not quite as much so as Monaco, but it was a very special event.
Bannister weaving a lot, but is it because I'm riding on board with him and he's watching?
He's using all of his overtake. Not sure what he's doing.
I think he's just entertaining himself for the last couple of laps.
Maybe.
As he's 19 seconds
Drifting
behind
a little
Mikey,
bit.
25 in front of the car behind, is just entertaining himself.
I would hope he doesn't make a mistake here. So close to the end of the race. Finally switched his overtake off.
Prev and Sega. Sega's just come out.
Ooh, and Prev will get DRS. But not close enough, looks like, to have a go in turn 7.
Bannister's pitting for some softs.
Well.
He is going for it.
I wonder.
It's going to come out frighteningly close to Old Dad's. Old Dad's
I think
is actually
he might be aware that Old Dad's has 12 seconds penalties.
Yes. I'd like to think so.
So,
But as long as Old Dad's doesn't impede his chances at fastest lap, if that's what he's going for. Because although he will gain the position, I think he's trying to go for fastest lap now.
I think he's got to save up some of his battery as well. Only 30%. He's gonna have to take it really easy this lap. And our race leader has started his final lap.
Sega is just about to start a flying lap on a fresh set of softs, and he did put a good time in before as well.
Bannister has a decision to make here. He's right on the back of the racing point. As they come into Sector 3, he can push and try to get the overtake down one of the DRS straights in Sector 1 and get clear at the racing point.
The racing point's just moved over.
Gets by easily then, no challenge.
Which is a shame, because he could have had a DRS advantage for fastest lap.
Yeah.
But as you say, we have Steve-O, who's just entered the third sector on his final lap. Bannister just starting his final lap on a fresh set of tyres, and also Sega going for fastest lap.
Yeah, so we will watch Steve-O as he's coming through the final sector. Steve-O, guy who struggled early in the season in AL1, come down to AL2, and he's been absolutely brilliant. And it's another race win for Steve-O as he wins the Singapore Grand Prix.
Currently holding the extra point for the fastest lap. Next across the line we have Sega, who is on fresh tyres, looking to take that fastest lap if he can. And he
we set a purple sector 3, but not enough.
Just missed out. Mikey crossing the line for second place. Let down a stake crossing the line. A good stint on them hard tyres.
Bannister improved through sector 2. If he can take fastest lap, if he puts it together in sector 3, he might have a chance. Oh, and he nicks the wall just a little bit. That might not cost him too much time though. We'll see if he can take fastest lap off our race winner.
Ooh, and he just missed out.
So then we have Old Dad's crossing the line. And just dastardly left as he comes through turn 21. Overall, not the best day for Ferrari as they had such great starting position in this race, but it's dastardly crossing the line, finishing 5th. And no surprise, our driver of the day, Mikey, finishing 2nd, starting way down in the grid. Seems to make a habit of cutting his way through the field. Does it again today.
A well-deserved driver of the day there for Mikey. There we have Steve-O on the top step. Mikey next to him, and Bannister taking up the final step on the podium. Let's see who we can get in for a post-race interview. But I'll go through the final standings with you now. So Steve-O with the race win, 34 seconds in front of Mikey. Also Steve-O taking the fastest lap there with a 1:37.8. So Mikey taking up the 2nd step, Bannister in 3rd, Old Dad's Rules in 4th, Dastardly in 5th, Sega de Cos in 6th, Preth in 7th, A letdown estate in 8th, CHM in 9th, and Ted was a retirement. So there we have our Singapore Grand Prix final standings.
Yeah, and we are joined now by Bannister, finished currently third in the Drivers' Championship. Bannister, you started 6th, got yourself on the podium. Is that overall a good race for you?
Qualifying wasn't too good, was it? Really wet.
Yeah, it was.
So it was just a case I knew Mikey would be pretty quick, so I just tried to stay in third basically. I know I'm going to just get third. There's no catching Steve-O, so
you seem to have quite a good stint on them hard tyres, but I think the lack of pace in them kind of hindered you more in the end.
There were no grip. Yeah, there were no grip in the hards. The strategy was to go soft, medium, hard, but I lost the clips of the wall, lost my front wing, the end plate, so that kind of balls that up.
Yeah, and I think in your last pit stop you had such a big gap. I think you pit twice there in a span of just a couple of laps.
Yeah, I was trying to steal the fastest lap at the end, but it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, you got close. I was riding on board for the end of that final lap. You're pushing right to the end.
Yeah, I got bored. Pretty much. If I knew Mikey were going to catch me again because he put you for the softs, so I just let him pass, and then I knew that old Dad's had about 12 seconds of penalties. I just tried to steal the fastest lap, but it didn't work out for some reason. I was running out of the RS, so that didn't help.
Well, a good race overall. Well done to get yourself on the podium.
Yeah.
Yeah, your 8th podium this season. You have had a great showing this season.
Yeah, done better this season. It's been pretty good to be up there all the time and having to work for it.
Yeah, it still could be anybody's title from the top 4. Dastardly still in contention of the title also.
Yeah, I had an unlucky spin today. That was pretty crap passing him like that. But
yeah,
I think Steve-O will just run away with it now. So
it's easy tonight. I didn't expect it to be at all.
So over to you, Steve-O, our race winner.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Bannister. A great drive from you to get on the podium. So Steve-O, you say it was easy for you tonight at a track where it's really difficult most of the time, but you were so far away from everybody, you could just keep it clean, keep it out of the wall, and get yourself a race win.
Yeah. I thought Bannister was actually catching him at one point, and then he had ring damage, I suspected, early on in the race. And that gave then from that point on, then it looked like it's going to be like the racing was going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, you did really great in qualifying to get out onto their medium tyres straight away, and you were the first one to set a qualifying lap. Yeah. Only 4 people able to set a time on the slicks before the rain came in, and nobody was able to even do a lap, let alone set a time. So congratulations on pole and the race win, the fastest lap.
Yeah, thank you.
Steve-O, just to look at the championship standings, not sure if you're aware how close it might be between you and Mikey.
Before, yes.
If you win every race and Mikey comes second, it's going to come down to fastest lap points. And I think, was that playing in your mind when you went for fastest lap there towards the end of the race?
I needed to as well, because the soft tyre, the medium tyres were going.
Yeah.
The plan was always to do when I got to around lap 15, I chose to do a 3-stop, and then pick lap 18, and then I knew I was going to have to do 2 soft stints at that point. Yeah, I was expecting Bannister to. I mean, if we had that wing damage, yeah, to challenge me tonight. Then Mikey was stronger also tonight.
Yeah, well, it really might come down to the wire for this championship. So, you did all you could tonight, though.
Also going to mention that yourself and Mikey crossed the line without having received a penalty. I think there was 2 other drivers that managed the race without any penalties.
Yeah, 2 warnings and tried to avoid getting any pens.
Yeah, always difficult to do that, no matter what track you're at. So, well done to you. Nice to see you enjoying yourself, getting race wins. So,
I might reserve in L1 because I don't know if everyone knows. I originally moved down because I changed to a wheel from a pad, and then there's been a long learning curve for it. So I might reserve in L1 next week. I might. Yeah. But I'd like to finish the whole season because I quite enjoy it, even though it has appeared easy for me. It hasn't always been. Last week I went with high downforce, which I shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems with Ascari. So that probably cost 3 notches more downforce, which I shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to play it safe. So yeah.
We're definitely looking into next season. Typically, the winner of AL2 would automatically be encouraged to move up to AL1, and I think last season, the top 3 actually went up. No, not last season, season before. I think top 3 moved up to AL1, so I think it would be likely that yourself, Mikey and Bannister will probably be looking at AL1 next season if your pace was to continue as it is.
Yeah. I like to see Apoplex and Strident. Well, Strident changes PSN there now. In L1 because they've got the pace. It's just their consistency which they need to work on.
Yeah, Apoplex picked up 2 podiums in the last 2 races, but Apoplex was absent tonight, so we couldn't see how he would fare around Singapore.
Yeah.
Well,
show me couldn't race.
Another good race for you. That is 6 race wins out of the last 7, so you're in great form.
Okay.
It'll be a close championship battle to the end. So
really interesting now if I can close the gap to Mikey. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing it. Thank you for joining us, Steve-O. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Steve-O, and congratulations.
Cheers.
And I think that will be all from us this week. We hope you enjoyed the Singapore Grand Prix and Wheel2Wheel Racing AL2 Season 15. Just 6 races left to go now in this season, and we've got a championship battle that might go down to the last race. But next week, we're in Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix, and we look forward to that one. So hope to see you then.
Yeah, I'll see you then, and stay safe. Thank you all.